Dawn is breaking on the city. There is no birdsong, and for the planetary defense forces, it seems that all hope is lost. The revolution has reached its height, and it has brought monsters and horrors from beyond the edges of the galaxy. Carapace, teeth, claws bigger than a man, have been known to cleave through battle tanks. This is what awaits the last defenders of the Imperial city. But the xenos must come no further. The city must not fall. The city has many names in Imperial records, and many more have been lost to history. But it is simply known to the locals as the Labyrinth. An intricate maze of workhouses, pleasure districts, and slums, which clung to the husk of the industrial center which sprawled for almost half a continent. Somewhere in this labyrinth lies an Imperial black site of utmost importance. Its existence was only known to the Inquisition and a few select members of the Imperial High Command. The invaluable research contains the key for defeating the Hive Mind, and similarly any other war that could come too. They are building a bioweapon capable of purging the Tyranids from existence. Project Exterminatus. Commissar Andre Yerksen woke slowly. Blinking, his eyes grew accustomed to the gloom, as he waited for the HUD of his cybernetic implants to flicker online. 96%. The neural upload was almost complete. He groaned. The pain and nausea of the data upload, mixed with the more familiar ache of his hangover, 97%. It was almost finished. Schematics, plans, and data from over a decade of research flowed up fiber optic cables into the back of his skull, 98%. Once the data was safely in his memory core, his mission was simple. Ensure Project Exterminatus reached the High Lords of Terror or die in the attempt. The Commissar rose, spat a little on the floor, and walked slowly to the edge of the secluded sanctum, at the center of the black site. Data cables trailing. There were no windows, but at a single barked command, a hollow window flickered into existence. Yerksen, a hardened veteran of countless campaigns, was still unprepared for the majestic horrors that reached his eyes. In vivid, nightmarish detail, he saw the atrocities wrought upon by the Labyrinth by the xenos invaders. The pale light from the morning sun was eclipsed by a mass of writhing, winged monstrosities. The skeletal forms of countless billion blackened the sky, devouring life itself, as larger spore mines and bioform landers made planetfall. Report, commanded Yerksen, without waiting for the newcomer to catch his breath. The evac site is overrun. We've lost contact with the fleet. But what news from the Lion's Judgment? What of Dark Angels? No word, my lord. We lost Vox communications at 0400 hours. A pause. What are your orders? There is little to be done. Send every man, woman, and child capable of holding a lasgun to the barricades. Here we make our stand, and pray the God Emperor has not forsaken us. Neural upload complete. Hi guys, and welcome back to Shit Gaming. Alright, we have a narrative fluffy mission today. It's the Imperial Guard led by Andre Yerksen against the might of a Tyranid behemoth hive fleet and the GSC. Tyranids turn 1, they won the roll-off. We'll see what happens. It's a fluffy game. We're just going to show you what happens at the end of each turn to keep it swift, enjoyable, and streamlined. The Tyranid mission is simple. Wipe out the Commissar and disrupt the data, knowledge that he has in his brain, and the Guard must keep him alive to win the game. Tyranids turn 1, as you can see, they've pushed through the city. I threw up a Screamer Killer and the bikes. I've wiped out a squad of guardsmen over there, a squad of guardsmen here, and there's 3 guardsmen left there, so those 2 squads are gone. As you can see, I also have the rest of the swarm pushing through the jungles, getting ready to conquer. Commissar Yarrick stands firm, but he is in a dire position as the Guard hold firm, and the bikes have pushed up, and they haven't breached the city yet. So we'll see what happens as we go now to Guard turn 1. End of Guard turn 1, they fought back, they wiped out the Carnifex, they have taken out the bikes. They managed to hold down their position and clear their lines, but they haven't done any damage to the remaining force of the Nids. They managed to raise 1 banner for their secondary. Guards have to basically raise banners to get points cumulatively throughout the game whilst trying to survive with Commissar Yarrick. And now we push into the Nids turn 2 and we'll see how much damage they can do. End of Tyranids turn 2. We failed the charge with the Carnifex, we failed the Psychopath for Onslaught, so he's just out in the open. I do have the Broodlord Synaptic Imperative for the extra save. Tyranids pushing up. I took the Rogel Dawn down to 5 wounds from 17, but other than that, killed 3 guardsmen, but nothing else with the Nids really got in range or fired. I pushed up, but the guards have another turn in their turn 2 to fight back as I come in on turn 3 and hopefully wipe out whatever's left. So we'll see what happened in Guard turn 2. as Commissar Yarrick is still standing pretty strong. As guard managed to hold a banner, they are on a single point to 0. As guard turn 2 begins, and the guard are defending the city and protecting themselves from the Tyranid invasion. The Carskin have arrived and managed to wipe out 2 brain bugs, leaving only 1 left. As the Nids hold it down in guard turn 2. End of guard turn 2. They fought back. They killed the Screamer Killer. They wiped out this Rock Grinder, 3 Sealers, wreckage, and they also killed the truck. They managed to pop over here with the Carskin and wipe out the brain bugs, leaving only 1 alive on 2 wounds. We raised another banner, giving them another point. Tyranids have 1 bastion raised, and we push down to Tyranids turn 3. So get ready for an epic game as the Hive Mind now throws everything forwards and wipes out all the guard it can, and hopefully kill the Commissar. Tyranid third turn, they are pushing forward. Can the guard hold them back? They have the infantry, the tanks. Yarrick is sheltering down. How long can he survive? And will anything come to help them as the Tyranids arrive and devastation will be unleashed? And we'll come back to you after this is over and how much of the guard will hold on. Charge phase, Tyranid turn 3. It's moved into desperation for the Hive Mind as we wiped out the Vrogeldorn, the Basilisk, and the infantry are now getting slayed, leaving them just with 2 tanks and Commissar Yarrick in the third turn as we finish up the charge phase for the Nids on turn 3. Has been unleashed as the Tyranids break through the lines, wiping out all the infantry, the Basilisk, the Vrogeldorn, just 2 tanks, and the Commissar is left, and it seems like all hope is lost. Can he hold it down as we push now into guard turn 3 for the guard? Will he survive? Last defense line of the guard as the tanks form a wall, a barrier to block out the swarm. On the first light of the 5th day, look to the east.
The Lion's Judgment has entered orbit. Dropships come raining down. The Space Marines have arrived. Terminators on this flank and Terminators on the other. Can they change this day for the Imperium?
Project Exterminatus. The Lion has arrived. He makes it into melee. The Dark Angels wiped out the Gene Stealers, leaving just the Broodlord on that flank, whilst the Guard fought back heroically and were able to kill all of the Tyrant Guard, leaving just the Hive Tyrant alone, defenseless. For the charges, the Terminators make it into the Warriors as the Lion comes in as well, as the Librarian fights the Parasite on the outskirts of the Imperial city. These Terminators and Blade Guard come to defend Commissar Yarrick, and if they successfully do defend him, they are able to complete Project Exterminatus, or start it and get 15 points for their primary. And the Nids will get 5 points for killing him and shooting, and 15 for killing him in melee. As we can now push into Dark Angel, Imperial Guard, Imperial. Turn 3 melee phase. The Lion did some smash, wiped out 3 warriors, but they managed to firm it with the Invons and the Feel No Pains. The Terminators tagged them, and they did a damage back. The Guard seemed to be holding it firm as we push now into the 4th turn for the Tyranids, and can the Horde break through and wipe out the Commissar? Hero Chaplain also wiped out the Parasite with his relic, the Benediction of Fury. Just have to survive for a few more turns as the last stand of the Guard and the Lion, as the Tyranids are breaking through. In his turn 4, the Broodlord came in, did 6 damage to the Lion, bringing him down to 3 wounds, and then the Lion fought first and killed the Hive Tyrant in one go, did 24 damage, and it was insane, and then he lashed out, meaning the Lion is on 2 wounds remaining, and the Dark Angels and Imperial Guard are firming it. As I'm pushing through, there are 3 Blade Guard left. They fight back into the Gene Stealer. We'll push now to Imperium turn 4 and see if they can survive until the end. The Imperium on the counter-offensive, the Dark Angels are pushing up. I only have 2 big bugs left and a handful of gaunts, as the Lion and the Broodlord have an epic showdown, and the Commissar is being reinforced by his Astartes brothers. Yes. End of Dark Angel turn 4, they wiped out the Broodlord. They were able to take a chunk out of the Termagants. They also took the Tyrannifex down to 2 wounds, and the Termagant down to 9, and 1 Terminator died. And they continue to protect the Commissar Yarrick with the tanks and the Blade Guard and the Deathwing Knights. So it's the final turn for the Nids, so can they push through and kill the leader at the last? We will see what happens. Final turn of the game, the Tyranids wipe out the Lion with the Horn Kitten trampling charge from the Tyrannifex. That will give me 3 points of primary, but the Commissar managed to stay alive and that is the end of the game. We'll do the points, the scores, and the doors, but ultimately, it is an Imperium victory because the Commissar has successfully stayed alive. And we'll just round out the game and see what happens. The Tyranids turn 5, I wiped out the Terminators. I got this close to Commissar Yarrick. We'll push now into the last turn for the Imperium and see how much they can mop up and then do the scores, guys. So it's not over yet. Game is finally finished, although it has been quite a short video, and the guard are victorious. Commissar Yarrick has escaped. Lion was slain, but he was teleported out in the last moments because he survived. There's one blade guard left, 2 tanks, one's on 7 wounds, and a few Deathwing Knights, as a few gaunts remain in the ashes, and the world will fall to the Tyranids. But the secrets to Project Exterminatus have been kept, meaning the real war has only just begun. The remnants of the Imperial forces flee back into base and try and escape back to Terra with the plans intact. But will they survive? Find out next time on Shit Gaming.